Oh, the Raiders. Welcome back to the webcast, All Sports One Web. It is Tuesday. That means NFL picks as we enter week 15 of the NFL season. We are hitting the back stretch. We have one confirmed playoff team after week 14. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. They are booked, ready to go, going to the playoffs. So there's just seeding really for them to take care of as wrapping up that number one seed in the NFC. But Doug, there's only one place that we can start this week. And it is with your favorite team on Thursday night. I got to start on Tuesday. I got to actually start last Tuesday. A week ago today, the Los Angeles Rams picked up on waivers Baker Mayfield from the Carolina Panthers. He flew across the country on Tuesday, had 2 days to learn the playbook, and was able to play in the last 2 minutes when it was 16-3 and scored 2 touchdowns, which was riddled with Raider penalties to extend the drive. The hitting the football out of the guy's hands for a PI, the offsides on 4th down to extend the drive when the Rams were punting, and that led to a touchdown with 10 seconds left from Baker Mayfield to send the Raiders to another loss. How are we feeling about that?
Josh McDaniels is just not a head coach. I mean, he can't finish games. He can't get his team to stop committing penalties. You can't just let. I understand Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. You know, he has his issues here and there, but there's signs of, glimpses of really good quarterback in him. I mean, he won the Heisman. He's not a bad athlete, bad player, or anything. So it's not, unheard of for Baker Mayfield to have a good day. But to come in, have 2 days with the playbook, come in late in the game, man, that's rough. That's rough. And they were leading. They just needed to close out the game, and they just couldn't do it.
Back to exile.
Against a very, very bad, struggling Rams team.
No Aaron Donald as well for the Rams to go along with their long list of injuries. Injuries really riddled across this week. But before we enter Week 15 picks, are Raiders permanently in exile for the rest of the season? They can no longer. Absolutely. Yep. That's what you said last week. Into exile they go. But let's go ahead and kick off our Week 15 picks here. We do all of our picks through ESPN. We got 4 weeks left. Not the best of weeks last week, but I'm going to attribute that to a lot of injuries and the Raiders, because finally we believed in them. And of course, that's how they do. We do take a 120-71 record into week 15. So hopefully we can improve on that. Go ahead and make your account and pick along with us if you haven't done so already. A great Thursday night matchup. Brock Purdy, after his first start against Tampa Bay, running for a touchdown, throwing for 2 touchdowns, 16 of 21 on the day for him in a blowout win for San Francisco. They take that great roster, that great defense into Seattle and take on Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith threw 2 interceptions in the first half, but then exploded in the second half. But it was a little too late for the Seahawks last week as they fell to the Carolina Panthers in Seattle. They now host San Francisco. Who do you got in this one?
I think San Francisco, they're really hitting their stride. They got all their injuries out of the way, it seems, in the beginning of the season, minus Jimmy Garoppolo. They look like a team that just can't be stopped right now. I mean, honestly, when you lose your starting quarterback and then you lose your backup starting quarterback, and you go into and you play Tampa Bay, solid team, not a super easy team to beat, maybe easier this year than the past 2-3 years, but yeah, they put a show on, and it just shows that they're good everywhere. They're not just they don't just have a one good player; they are just good everywhere. Deebo Samuel got hurt. I don't know how bad it is. I saw Jerry Rice say something, stop running our best skill guy up the middle. That just seems pretty stupid, which I agree with. Why run him up the middle? That's dumb.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that works.
When you have McCaffrey.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think San Francisco are just too good. And Seattle's kind of shaky right now.
Yeah. So are they the most complete team in the NFL for you, San Francisco 49ers, despite their injuries, just across the board, both sides of the ball?
I think the Eagles are.
The Eagles, yeah.
Well, and honestly, the Cowboys too. The Cowboys' defense is really good. Really good. And their offense is really good too. They have a great running game. I think they just picked up T.Y. Hilton, which is, he had his injury issues and stuff, but when he's healthy, he's just fantastic. So
he just adds another dimension to that offense. Yeah.
So
the
NFC I would say maybe the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Yeah, the NFC, that's the kind of the three that I was thinking of as well. You watch the performance week in, week out now with San Francisco since they've been healthy, and they just have so many ways to beat you. Same thing with the Eagles and same thing with the Cowboys. All Cowboys and 49ers especially have dealt with severe injuries that we've seen can derail seasons for other teams like the Los Angeles Rams, for example. And yet for some reason, because of how complete they are, they can muster through it and still put up a 9-4 record. I think that goes to 10-4 as well Thursday night, as they will get the win in Seattle. But I do expect maybe a regression for Brock Purdy there. Great starting performance, but I just think that I think it'll be a closer game, but I think that defense will just carry them through. Another team whose defense might carry them through here is the Indianapolis Colts, maybe against the Vikings, who, despite Justin Jefferson's record performance there, 11 catches for, 234, I think it is, fell to the Lions last week. They return home to take on the Colts. You have a big bounce back for the Vikings, or can the Colts kind of pick up on this formula of getting to Cousins and putting the pressure on and get a win?
I don't think the Colts are as good as the Lions. I think Minnesota is going to be pretty upset about that game. Honestly, though, the Lions normally take the Vikings at least once a year. So it's not necessarily a super surprise that the Vikings lost to the Lions. But no, I think the Vikings are going to win this game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the Colts just don't have enough offensive firepower to keep up with the Vikings. We know that the formula to beat the Vikings is have a good pass rush and be able to score enough to beat them, but they play a lot of close games, the Vikings do. So if you can get to them a little bit, you have a good chance of winning. I think the Colts defense is good enough to cause some issues, but I think the Vikings will just have too much offensively. And so I like the Vikings as well. Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns fight in the AFC North, with both kind of getting some players back and trying to change their offense. We saw not only Lamar Jackson go down, but Huntley go down as well for the Ravens. But J.K. Dobbins came back for the Browns. We saw Deshaun Watson's second game as a Cleveland Brown, a much better performance than last week. The Browns are at home in this one. Who do you got?
Honestly, I'm still not sold on Deshaun Watson. Maybe if Jacoby Brissett was starting this game, I'd lean a little more towards the Browns. No, I think the Ravens are still really good. A loss of Lamar Jackson's huge. I would not be surprised if the Browns did pull one out, because they lost a lot of firepower losing the MVP. Just one of the best players in the league. Man, this is tough. I think if it is going to be a ground and pound type game, it's going to be snowy or something like that, then I think Cleveland could win this, because I think they have a better running game. So I think maybe I will go with the Browns in this one, because I think their defense is really solid, and I think that they just can run the ball.
Yeah, Tyler Huntley also going down. We'll see if he can come back for this game. If not, I think Anthony Brown maybe is their backup. Whoever played the end of that game, 16 points against Pittsburgh was all they could muster. J.K. Dobbins had a great performance, 15 carries, 120, and a touchdown in his long-awaited return from injury. Finally, a decent workload for him. He's definitely going to be the mainstay of that offense going into Cleveland. But I think with Deshaun Watson's performance last week, I think the biggest thing for him was getting up to the speed. The Ravens defense is definitely going to test him to see if he is really, truly getting back up to speed with the play of the NFL. But I think at home, I do like the Browns actually to eke this one out as well.
Yeah, I think they could surprise him just because, I mean, not having Lamar Jackson's huge. And the Browns can run the ball. And Deshaun Watson, we all know how good he can be, how good he was.
Yep.
So, if he can keep getting better week by week, they could make – I mean, I'm not saying they could make a run for the playoffs, but they could make a run to derail some of these teams. They could really ruin the Ravens' chances here.
Yeah, as Ravens are tied
or something.
Yeah, tied with the Bengals atop the division right now. That'll bump them down to a wild card position and have to play on the road in the first week playoff game, maybe in Kansas City, as well as Buffalo takes that number 1 spot and that bye currently. But I agree. I like the Browns in this one, but always a great matchup in the AFC North. We got an AFC East battle here with the Dolphins finally. Well, not really. Finally, I thought they were going to be at home this week, but of course not. They're going to be on the road after going from from New England to San Francisco. They stayed the week to take on the Rams. They now go all the way to Buffalo, back all the way across the country. They just cannot catch a break. They also caught an L last week against Chargers. Sorry, I said Rams there at SoFi. And now they take on a Buffalo Bills team who's looking to run the table to secure that first place bye, and they're at home. We got a storm coming through, so as you said, might be a snowy game. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, Miami being on the road for so long, that is tough. I mean, it's tough regardless of, what you think. Oh, they got great hotels. They got, these jumbo jets. They fly the whole team. It's all whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, if they continuously not play at home, it takes a toll, and all that traveling, just takes away from that family time you could be having, and it takes a toll on these players. Buffalo at home in the cold, in the snow, no shot for Miami.
Yeah, I agree with that. No long shot. They have been playing. I don't know what it's been, but it just seems like that offense isn't clicking as it once was. Maybe that, like you said, it's because they've been on the road these last couple of weeks, but I like Buffalo either way in this one. Buffalo has a lot to play for, wrap up the division and continue for that number 1 seed. So I like Buffalo in this one. A contested battle for the top of the NFC South here with the 5-win Falcons taking on the 4-win Saints, only 1 and 2 games back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for top spot in the division. So this could go a long way in deciding that. Andy Dalton still running things there for the Saints. It is down in the Big Easy. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints. They're at home. They have Alvin Kamara. Andy Dalton seems to be playing okay. No show-stopping performances by any means, but he seems to be just doing the job. And I'll go with the Saints in this one.
Yeah, I like that the NFL put these, both gave them a bye and now they play each other. So they're both coming off of a bye. I like that a lot. And I think the Saints will have too much for them at home. I like the Saints as well. Eagles taking on Justin Fields and the Bears. Justin Fields continues to put on great performances with his arm and with his leg. Another 50-plus touchdown last week. But the Eagles defense, as great as they are, passing and that run defense now with Fletcher Cox back in the starting lineup. Eagles did clinch the playoff spot. They're the first team to do so, but obviously they are fighting for top spot in the NFC. The Vikings 2 games behind them. This win could go a long way in wrapping that up early. Who do you got?
Yeah, I got the Eagles fairly easy in this one. Justin Fields, great player. He just needs a couple weapons. And it's unfortunate. It really is. But hopefully the Bears will, pick up some of these really good receivers and running backs coming out of college and really help them out. But yeah, there's just no shot in this game. I'm thinking next year for the Bears. Not just next year.
Yeah, I could only see this if there is maybe, even if it's a big snowstorm, I don't think that's going to help the Bears in this one. They're in Chicago, but I think the Eagles have too much to play for. They will be focused enough. I don't think that that's going to be an issue, and they have too much talent. As we said, a complete football team on both sides of the ball, top to bottom. So I like the Eagles as well. The Lions, maybe up there with one of the hottest teams right now as they just keep on rolling. They take on the 7-win Jets, which after their loss last week, Saleh came out and said, we'll see them again, referencing the Buffalo Bills. The only way that they will see them again would be if they make the playoffs. Saleh thinks the Jets will make the playoffs. A win here will go a long way in doing that. Do you got a win for the Jets at home?
I don't. Sorry, Jets fans. They are getting taken down by the Lions because the Lions are too hot. I mean, they just beat a 10-win team. What makes them not able to beat a 7-win team? I think the Lions are a really, really good team. Their defense, we always knew their offense could cause problems for any defense. Their issue was their defense. Well, their defense is stepping up big time. So if they continue to play the way that they have been these past few weeks, the Lions are going to be another team that may not make the playoffs, but they could knock the teams like the Jets that have playoff hopes. They could start knocking them off. But honestly, if the Lions win out and they go 10-7, they could definitely squeeze into that wild card spot.
Yeah, definitely a team that I don't think anyone would like to see come into their building the first week of the playoffs if they continue to play the football that they've been playing. But I actually like the Jets in this one purely because of, even though they lost last week, just the performance that Mike White had where he got hit in the ribs, left in the second quarter, came back, got hit in the ribs again, left, and came back, and got hit in the ribs again, and then left. And just the embodiment of Saleh in a team where they're just they do not give up. They give everything. And I think at home, this is where they can cause issues. Even though I do like Detroit, I think they are a more complete team, like you said, with the defense stepping up. They just don't have the quality of some of these other teams like the Philadelphia Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers. But they have a lot of good players, and they play well. They have a good identity as well. But I like the Jets in this one. Vegas has this as even. So it makes sense that we are split on here, but can I get you to come over to the Jets side?
Sure. Fine. I don't like it though. I'm picking the Lions in my own.
It is noted. It is noted.
Yeah. We're gonna have a little clip score. Take it, write it down.
Let's see if we are in agreement on this one. Carolina going into Seattle and getting a win. They return to take on the Steelers. We'll see who starts for them. Mitch Trubisky came in last week and threw 3 interceptions against the Ravens as they fell to their third-string quarterback. Carolina obviously went with Sam Darnold, who had a great performance in Seattle.
Man, if Pittsburgh had any sort of offense, they would be a really good team.
Any at all.
I mean, just any sort of offense. They would be a solid team, serious contender, probably an 8-5 type team. But they don't. And Sam Darnold's back, seems to be playing well. I'm going to go with the Panthers because I just don't think the Steelers can score on anybody.
Yeah. Yep, I think that this has a field goal game written all over it for me. And I just, we have said it before, we are huge TJ Watt fans here on the show. And I think that he is going to cause issues for Sam Darnold. And I get it. We've seen Sam Darnold have these great performances. And yes, we've seen him string together some decent performances. I love TJ Watt in this matchup. And I think that he's going to be the difference maker. And, I can see Carolina win it, so you can convince me, but I actually like the Steelers in this one.
I'm good with it.
You good with it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I think their defense will cause Carolina problems. It's just I don't know that Pittsburgh's going to score anything.
No confidence whatsoever in Pittsburgh offense, none whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
it was great to see Najee Harris.
Najee Harris, and they had Chase Claypool, but whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on with their offense. It's shambles.
Terrible. Yeah. Absolute shambles. Yep. I agree with that. Yeah. Anyway, two teams that are getting their offenses seem to get better and better. Dallas last week had to really fight one out, scoring late in that one. A Zeke touchdown put them in the win column last week. Jacksonville just went into Tennessee and put up 35 on the Titans. A great performance again from Trevor Lawrence. Who do you got in Jacksonville?
I really like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be a really, really good quarterback in the next few years. I think he's going to be, a star. But I think the only star on this field will be all the players in cowboy helmets. And,
Micah Parsons.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really hard for the Jags to throw the ball because they won't have any time. They have Trayvon Diggs, for coverage sacks, and then they have Micah Parsons for being amazing sacks. So I just don't know. I don't know how they move the ball against this Cowboys team. And I don't know how they slow down the rushing attack of Pollard and Zeke. They're turning into quite the duo. And it's frustrating to watch because they're pretty good. And I don't like the Cowboys.
Yeah. For all of you that follow other sports as well, Cowboys are like Manchester United. You either love them or you hate them, and that's kind of the only way that they go. But last week, I think that performance against Houston is going to go a long way for the Cowboys. We've seen them so many times get in these tight situations and fold like a house of cards, especially Mike McCarthy as well. And they were just able to find a way to win the football game despite the turnovers. They were able to actually capitalize on the Texans going for it on fourth down inside Dallas's 5 and go on a 95-plus yard drive to cap off with the game-winning touchdown late in the game. And I think that is all the confidence they're going to need to go in and steamroll Jacksonville. I like what Jacksonville's doing, but I agree. I think Dallas is going to just be too much for them.
I think they're turning into a pretty solid team. And I think Jacksonville fans should be, I wouldn't say necessarily excited, but they should be optimistic for the future because
so many young pieces
that have really young talent and they're really building on this. And they don't really have, those superstars right now, but they have a lot of young players who are doing well. And I think eventually they're going to turn into some really good players. And, next 2-3 years, the Jaguars could be a problem. I mean, just plain and simple.
A team that is definitely a problem right now is the Kansas City Chiefs. They take on the Houston Texans.
1%, huh?
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's that high.
Should be lower. Yeah, I think it's a roundup. I think they round up. I think it's one Texans fan put a vote in for this one. Yeah. We see anything but a Chiefs win in this one?
No. No, not even close.
No. Yeah. Well, the team that may have put some fear in the Chiefs late in that game after, getting blown out in the first quarter, I think it was 21-0 at the end of the first. Denver scored the most points they have the entire year against the Chiefs. Jerry Jeudy has come back to that offense. Cortland Sutton is out, but Jerry Jeudy came in second week really back fully. 3 touchdowns for him. Russell Wilson left the game with a melon-sized bump on his forehead. He's in concussion protocol. So we'll see if he plays next week. But the entire Arizona Cardinals offense and the New England Patriots, for that matter, last night, all just kept going down. I think the most injuries I've ever seen in a football game last night. Kyler Murray tears his ACL on the third play from scrimmage. So many more injuries to go along with it. We had what's his name? Texas quarterback Colt McCoy coming in forever. 13 year in the league, I think, for him. He will lead the Cardinals into Denver. Denver getting a win with all the injuries to Arizona.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I just always felt like the Cardinals have more firepower, and Denver's offense is terrible. And then losing Russell Wilson after he got Jerry Jeudy back, not great. Their defense is still really solid, though. I mean, you can't put that past the Broncos. Their defense is solid. Now I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think they still have too much to offer. I just don't think
I do like the fact that
more than 10.
Yeah. I mean, we did see, Brett Ripon come in, throw a touchdown. Not too bad there late in the fourth quarter to make it kind of interesting at the end against the Chiefs last week. But Colt McCoy is going to be entering his fourth or fifth game now. And I like Colt McCoy with that offense. I think, but I agree. I mean, I just don't see. I don't know. This is so tough.
I mean, this kind of like the
really Carolina game where you just expect who can score 17? I just need 17 points. Who's going to get me 17 points? Who can I trust to get me 17 points? And in this game, I guess there's only one person I trust to get me 17 points, and his name is DeAndre Hopkins. And so therefore I can ride with the Cardinals, but I do not trust Cliff Kingsbury to go into a game and get a win. I just don't do it, but
that's a solid point.
I guess we'll roll with the Cardinals.
No, that's a solid point. We can expand on that. Cliff Kingsbury is not our he's not our favorite coach by any means.
He's not our dude. He's not our dude. No.
Man, I just think that Denver can get a running game going with James Conner, and then any quarterback can throw it up to DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that's kind of. Yeah,
but even James Conner went down a little bit last week. We'll see how healthy he is going into this one too. Yeah. So,
all right, we made our decision. Let's just move on before we change.
All right, let's move on.
Patriots, because
we made a decision on that one. Complete exile. Don't even need to talk about them. Yeah,
the Raiders suck.
Yeah. All right.
Poor Josh
Titans
Jacobs.
travel. Poor Josh Jacobs. Exactly. He needs to. Imagine if he does if they get rid of him like Carolina did with Christian McCaffrey, go to the Chiefs. Imagine him on the Chiefs. That would be absolutely incredible. Team that would not want to see that is the Los Angeles Chargers, who are dealing with so many injuries themselves, but did find a way to get a win against Arizona. The Titans took a huge loss to Jacksonville after their great performances against the teams like Cincinnati and the Chiefs. Good performances anyway. And they travel to SoFi to take on the Chargers. Who do you got?
I think I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. The Titans aren't playing so hot right now. And, I mean, getting beat that bad by Jacksonville, man, yeah, that's a tough loss. I'm going to go with the Chargers at home.
See, I love the Chargers against against Arizona. I did like them. I think the energy that they were going to bring in that stadium, I think, is what really propelled them. They were flying out of the blocks there. Not Arizona, sorry, against oh my gosh, who did they just play? Anyway, but I actually like the Titans to bounce back in this one. I like Derrick Henry and the Titans to bounce back and go in. I just think the Chargers can't string wins together, personally. That's my problem with that.
I mean, I'm a huge Derrick Henry fan. Okay. All right. I'm just letting you steamroll me today. I don't know what my deal is.
Honestly. Oh, the Dolphins. Sorry. I meant the Dolphins. Bengals versus Bucks. Bucks return after that just humbling loss there in San Francisco to Brock Purdy. First rookie quarterback or first starting quarterback to beat Tom Brady. Joe Burrow and the Flying Bengals traveled down to Tampa Bay. Who do you got?
So I saw a little stat. Tom Brady, when he loses, he's had 4 of his biggest losses. The first 3, the team made it to the Super Bowl. So he had one of the biggest losses of his career, top 4. Do they make it to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. The Bengals will run into there and just stomp them because the Bucks are not a good team this year right now.
Yeah, Villa being out last week, huge problem in their run defense, which has really been what they've been leaning on all year because that offense just cannot score any points whatsoever. Bengals offense.
Can you tell me why?
At the time. I have no idea why. They just look slow.
Why can't they score?
They're slow. Like you look at Julio Jones, we're all in awe at how great of a shape he's come back in, and maybe he's getting back in form. He's still 33, 34 years old, and he looks like the fastest one out there, maybe outside Godwin. I mean, I don't understand where this is all coming from, but they just are slow. Whenever they have a good opportunity for a deep pass, Mike Evans drops it. Someone else drops it. It's a little bit off. They had a touchdown to Mike Evans last week, holding penalty. The offensive line has been terrible. They can't get anything going. Tom Brady isn't mobile enough to get out of the pocket and be able to run with it or do anything. So the offense just dies. And even with Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette, who have been playing decently all season, it's just not enough. And I think the Bengals with Jamar Chase and coming back fully healthy, we saw a great performance, 10 odd catches last week for him. I like the Bengals as well.
Yeah. I think the Bruce Arians effect is real. I mean, he was there last year. They were a fantastic
team. Which is so funny
team.
for a guy. Yeah, but Bruce Arians just has this demeanor of being like calm, whatever, do whatever, that beach vibe kind of thing. How many strings was he really pulling last year? But I guess it must have been something.
Well, that's what I mean. It didn't seem like it. And they have Byron Leftwich calling all the plays, the offensive plays, and Todd Bowles was calling the defense. So Todd Bowles now just took over as head coach, and they're still both calling the plays. But what's the difference? Is it Bruce Arians? Because that's really the only change, isn't it?
Yeah, that plus, I mean, the offensive line is injury riddled. We saw them go down in the preseason, and I just haven't been able to recover. But with that offensive firepower and the brains of that offense being run by Tom Brady and, like you said, Leftwich, a great performance last year. I don't know what has changed. I mean, they're a number one passing offense last year. How they add a healthy Julio Jones to that mix. Yes, they lost Gronk, but still they have weapons. I don't understand how that's been this way, but that's the benefit of the Bengals because we got them in a win in Tampa Bay. A great match. We had this game 2 weeks ago, ended in a draw. Giants take on Washington now in DC. Who do you got?
I got Washington. I think they got their number this time. I think they're gonna, now they're playing at home. I think they're going to put it to the Giants. And this is a great division when last year it was the worst division.
I know.
It's funny how football works. But hey, that's why you keep playing.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised it's this lopsided. We did see the Giants get absolutely skull dragged by the Eagles last week. I do like Washington for all the reasons that you said in this one, but I do expect it maybe to be a little bit closer than.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't agree. I agree. I agree with your
disagreement.
Yeah, of the lopsidedness.
All right. Well, this one is severely lopsided. Monday Night Football. Rams traveling to the Great White North, Green Bay. Who do you got at Lambeau?
Yeah, I got Green Bay because it's the middle of December. And Aaron Rodgers plays good in the snow. It's just the guy is the freaking abominable snowman. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think Baker going to be the starting quarterback for this one. He gets 10 more days to get integrated in that offense, but I just think that it's just not going to be enough, especially when he loves to take the opportunity for a deep ball there at Lambeau with the storm rolling through, especially, I don't think will be very helpful. Green Bay leaning on the run game as well more and more now. I like the Packers as well. And there you have it. There are all 16 of our picks for week 15 of the NFL season, all done through ESPN.com. So go ahead and get your picks in. All the artwork that you see here on the webcast is done by Smiley Sports Artwork on Instagram. Go check her page out and get your picks in before Thursday night. We got Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday games in the NFL, so a full weekend of action, as well as some World Cup as well. Tomorrow, the semifinal, France and Morocco. I won't do any spoilers for those who missed today's game, Argentina versus Croatia. One team has already booked their spot in Sunday's final. We've got a great weekend of sports ahead of us, so enjoy it, and we will see you next time here on the webcast.